Hey, thanks to our sponsors at Overdogs.bet, the only place on the planet with exotic MMA prop bets. Sign up now for beta and free play. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, because the King of Violence told you to do so. Show some love to the Overdogs Podcast, baby.
Sean or Ilia for the fucking belt, and where's it at?
Sean or Ilia for the belt. Revenge is sweet, so for sure I would take the O'Malley rematch. If the guy's coming up and they give him a chance to fight for the belt, I'm taking that all day long just to show everybody. Like I said in the Piotr Jan fight, I told everybody why I performed like that, and I said I can't wait for the rematch to show him what's up. And then I shut everybody up. Oh, you just hugged his back. I won the fight. Shut your boy down. He couldn't do shit. With this one, it'd be the same exact thing. I love rematches. Give me the opportunity to show. Like I said, that first one was a mentally defeated guy who did not want to be in the octagon.
And the dehydration. For sure, I like you in the rematch at 145.
You give us both the proper time to prepare. I don't even know if he guy even really hits me.
Well, how'd you take the PED allegation news, or however that went?
Well, I think he popped twice for it. I do know for sure it was once, and I think one of his teammates also got popped for it. So it's just like, hold up.
What's up? It's the Overdogs Podcast, episode 32 in the house. We got a great guest in the lineup for you today. And shout out to all of our people. Kenpai Pandas, Overdogs Bet, Overdogs Podcast. We here. We in the buildings. Mac Malley and Ice Bags. What's up, fellas?
What's up, boys?
All good, brother.
Boys, what's good? Yeah, we getting to the money. We got big things popping, man. Lots of current events. We got next week we going to Miami. We going to have a little family gathering out there in Miami. That should be fun. I'm looking to set up some sparring out there with like one of the GOATs right now. So that should be good. What else, Josh? What are you doing?
You talking about next week?
What parties you setting up? Yes, sir.
You know, I don't know, man. Wife said she wanted something super quiet, so I think I'm going to give it to her. I was like, I said, I just want to fucking eat all weekend, is what I told her, specifically through text. And she said she's down for that. So I think it's going to be a quiet weekend in Miami. We'll do a little business on Friday. And then, I'll take her to the beach. And
Where's somewhere you got to go eat? Because I want to go, not when you go. We don't want to have to bother you and Margaret. We got to have the kids. But we will.
Seducing her, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
so
to
there's
go
a fire
there.
little spot at Satay Hotel, which you'll probably be staying at. It's like Indian Asian fusion, and they got like dancers in the middle across the pool and stuff, DJ playing. Really cool, very Miami.
A little bit like Fontainebleau almost.
A little bit. It's brand new. It's like the new hot spot, Okay. I forget the name of it, but I'll get you the information for it and help you set it up and do all that, because it's a cool little spot. Food's good, but the entertainment's really cool. And they had plenty of kids in there. Yeah, they had kids in there hanging out. So
okay. By the time this come out, everybody watching first is gonna know that we at the Satay out there in MIA. So pull up on your boy. We could throw some knuckles or throw some shots back, whatever you trying to do, man.
Mike's still ready for a fight, bro. He didn't get enough fight out of Pitbull, and now
I'm ready for life, bro. I'm ready for life.
I love it.
Turn up. What were you saying, Mac? You were saying something about when he's because I said I don't want to bother him and Margaret, and you was like, when he's trying to seduce her.
Yeah, man. He's like, what's the? Yeah. While he's talking up his wife, bro. He's got her out at dinner. He's like apologizing for any fuck ups he's done recently.
He's talking in her ear.
Yeah. Then Mike Perry's there. Yeah. I think I need to attack that one solo personally. That was.
Tell Margaret that we said watch the shopping out there in Miami. It's not all it's cracked up to be. There's no need to be spending on shit that you already got 6 of.
That's actually the number one reason I said I just wanted to fucking eat somewhere quiet away from the shopping, because she caught me for about 20 G's last month over there when we
we gotta hit the design district.
Yeah, I gotta have this dress and another bag. I'm like, babe, you got 27 fucking bags. Like, how many do you need? She's like, this is so different.
Okay, speaking of that
They're
type
all
of shit,
like tan or white or black. They're like
speaking of that type of
shit.
shit, bro. Ever since my girlfriend seen seen your G-Wagon text message, Mike. Dude, I have to get her a G-Wagon apparently all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm fucking broke. What are you talking about?
They're played out, bro. Tell her it's a monthly payment, man.
I ain't buying
I
no
didn't
fucking
buy that
G-Wagon,
bitch
dog.
outright. I'm still paying for that bitch.
No, I ain't that.
Yeah, 2040.
Oh, man.
Probably.
Do you ever show off your G-Wagon you got, like, on Instagram?
Every time I pull up to a valet section of the restaurant that I'm going to eat at.
But you never posted it or anything like that?
I think I did. I don't know if I made it a hard post. I might have just did a little story.
Yeah.
Because, I didn't want to, just throw it in everybody's faces. There's a lot of hardworking people that support me that I like. And, them are the ones who watch my story. But, all the haters, they can say what they... Some people still on the internet calling me broke. That's cool. That's cool, man. My friend actually has a company. Shout out to Alabama Zach. He rocks his broke hat everywhere he goes. Actually, when I fought, I don't know who it was. I fought in bare knuckle. I don't know if it was Eddie Alvarez or it might have been Luke Rockhold. When I was walking out to fight Luke, my friend had his hat up in the air. He's like, look. He wears his hat broke. It say broke on it. And I'm like, man, I hate that hat, bro, because I probably was broke at the time he introduced me to it. And I was like, I don't like that hat. And then he was holding the hat up, so I smacked the hat out of his hand as I'm walking to the ring to fight Luke Rockhold. And people are like, oh, Mike's so mean, he just smacked that guy's hat. But there's a story behind it.
He smacked the broke guy's hat.
Well, and then you have to know it's a joke, because if you're broke, how did you afford the hat that says broke? So, like, they're just trashing on broke people.
He will like that you explained it that way. That's, because look, when you got money, you don't need to flaunt that shit. Look at the billionaires out here dressing like whatever.
Adam Sandler type motherfuckers, bro. All the money in the world, and he walks around in basketball shorts all the time.
But, we got that Elton John money over here, boy. We got big money over here, boy. And we like to flaunt that shit a little bit.
It's hard to hide sometimes.
Well, okay, wait. I got a quick question for both of you. What is both of your favorite cars that you have? Because you guys have multiple. I drive a Jeep Wrangler, 4-door, not that poverty, but like what are you guys rocking? Which one's your favorite? You both had to think. How many fucking cars do you guys have?
Josh was not. Hey, Bags was running through the list. He's like, damn, I got this.
I was gonna let you go, so I had a few minutes to go through my list.
Yeah. I got man. At one time, I had a classic right side drive Japanese imported Skyline, but it was a GTS 4. It wasn't a GTR. I wanted to tune it up, and but this guy pretty much murked me on. Like, I paid him some money. I gave him my new car that I bought, and he was supposed to, fix it up, and it was like a year down the road. But he got knocked out flat, face first, in bare knuckle boxing a couple of times, so that was fun to watch. And so that car is gone, but I love the cars I got now. Now we got my mama got the convertible Mustang downstairs, and then I like the Tesla, the everyday drive, the family car. It's got the cool doors on it, and it's smooth as heck, and it's faster than everybody's Lambo and all that shit. Like, I'm out of there. And it's so smooth, and it's got all the and it can drive itself. It drives itself, and it parks itself. When I pull up to a parking spot, I scroll, and I click the button, and I take my hands off the wheel, and that bitch just park. That's pretty cool. And then the G-Wagon is like, yeah, we going out. We finna look good. We got the car wash. And otherwise, it just sit in the garage, and it's worth all that money, and we just let it sit there looking good.
I'm an Aston Martin guy, man. Like, if it's good enough for James Bond, it's good enough for me. I think it's sexy. It's not as like loud as like a Lambo, or Ferrari or some of the other ones. There's just something sexy about it, but it's also fast and fucking well put together. So Aston Martins for me, either that or like a big ass SUV, just because they're comfortable as hell. You know, Escalade, Navigator, shit like that. I'd love to have like an old school, either muscle car, like a
Oh, dude,
Chevelle.
66 Chevelle, as I was going to say, is my only dream car. Give me that. I'd never ask
Like
for
a
anything again.
Chevelle, or I'd love to have like an old Jaguar, you know. But the problem is when you live in Florida, dog, it gets so fucking hot here. Like you just want something where the AC just blasts. You know what I mean? So the old cars just don't work here.
So funny you said Chevelle, though. That's literally the only, if I even have a
My
dream.
boy who owns Broke, he got like 5 old school cars. He got an old Hummer. It's an H1.
Oh, dude.
I haven't even seen this thing. He's had it for like 2 years, and it's been in the shop for 2 years. And then he had a blue Chevelle that was really nice. I was like $80K. I think he be trading the old school cars, but he's got this truck that he crashed. It's like an old sleeper truck. It was a nice black paint job. I think it's a Chevy. Low to the ground. It's got hydraulics. It's got a Corvette engine in it. That thing is sick. He crashed it. He's getting that. That was in the shop for a while now, getting fixed. So, shout out to my dog Beard Games, man.
Sounds like he spends a lot of money at the shop.
Yeah.
Insurance.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a motorcycle guy, Mike? Because you come off.
I have a Ducati. I forgot. I have
There
a
we go.
Ducati in the garage. Just sits there because I'm not driving it anymore. I'm gonna get rid of that.
Do you do it
thing.
because you're worried what you're
And,
going to do to yourself? Like, if you hurt yourself, you wouldn't be able to. Like, why? Or you just.
No, it's other people.
Yeah.
It's other people. The Florida. I've been rear-ended at red lights like 4 times in my life. If that happened on a bike, I'm out of there.
Yeah, and then you don't have. Hey, you rolled your R. Cinco de Mayo. How was your guys'?
Apparently, it's not Mexican Independence
No,
Day.
dude, when
That's
you
September
tweeted that, when you posted that, I was like, Mike doesn't know, but who's going to correct him? Who corrected you?
That's what a lot of people said. Yeah, I was
Probably his
like, oh.
wife.
I started looking through the comments, and I'm like, no, you know what it was? I think I told her at one time, like, oh, it's Mexican Independence Day. And then she just agreed with that in her head. So then I was like, what do I put for a caption? And she's like, Happy Mexican Independence Day. And I'm like, all right. And I said, I hope everyone does or had one. And then we both looking. But you got to learn, man. You live,
And
you learn, you move
And you did
along.
a service, because now all the people that read the comments on that went, oh, shit. So we all learned.
It's the Battle of Puebla.
Puebla, yes.
Speaking of battles, let's talk about the battle of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. I couldn't even think of his name.
Because I could see this happening. Mike Perry could be a feature in this battle. Are you going on the Drake tape or are you going on the Kendrick tape?
Oh, that's crazy. Ryan Garcia releasing music, bro.
Is he?
He got a couple diss tracks now.
Bring.
He got a couple diss tracks out. I'm like, damn. Now I got to make a diss track about Dylan Dennis.
Yeah.
Roast his ass.
That's a great idea, actually.
I seen you in the hospital bed. You was looking half dead. And then I looked at your mama and said, what's wrong with him? Is he fucked up in the head?
Bars, bro. Bars. You give you like a couple hours to think about that, and you'll have like a whole diss track for sure.
No, send me a beat. Send me a beat, and I'll listen to the beat, and I'll just write some shit.
Look at him go. Okay, so we gotta talk about that then. So you gotta explain.
We just went.
I know. We'll go back to the context of Drake, because I don't understand that much. I don't care about Drake. I've never cared at all. I've now kind of caught up with like some like the pedophilia stuff they're talking about, and like, but I literally could not tell you a single Drake song besides fucking Problems, the one he did with, like, that's the only one I know. I've heard his music, but I don't know shit, bro.
There's lots of good Drake songs, but
Kendrick's who I like.
No,
but go ahead.
So that's a topic too. Every week it seems like somebody else was a pedophile.
Yeah, bro.
So Kendrick raps that Drake. I haven't even heard that part yet of the diss. I guess I don't know. And then they just keep releasing these diss tracks to each other. And Kendrick was saying that about Drake, and Drake. I heard a bit of a response about now you making shit up that's not even true or something. And then, but it's like it's weird that they would talk about that. I guess that's an easy choice to pick. But so the context. I was texting y'all earlier and. Shout out to Barstool Sports, Stool Presidente. Shout out to them, man. But I was watching on Barstool. The guy was talking about Drake's house getting shot up since they had all this beef, and now Drake's house got shot up. And they were saying that people were saying that Drake shot up his own house and he shot up his own bodyguard. Who else got guns in Toronto?
That happened in Toronto?
Is Canada banging
No,
that? Canada out here banging?
Yeah.
They won't even let me in, dog.
All the fucking bad guys got the guns, of course.
But so explain that though. Why is Drake shooting his own shit up?
He trying to get Kendrick in trouble?
But didn't someone get shot and die?
I don't know if he died. I didn't hear he died, but his bodyguard
Well, that's
got
risky
shot.
as fuck just to like make people why did he get shot?
He's like, look, put your leg out. Put your leg out.
Like, bro, I won't hit an artery. I'll just nick the leg.
Cock sideways.
Yeah.
I want $3.5 million, dog. Done. He puts that on the roulette table.
Actually, that's actually a good point. It could literally be that. Did he die? I gotta look that up.
Cheers, man. Let me text Aljo, see what's up.
Cheers, boys.
We've been trying to get Aljo on for a minute, man.
Yeah, bro.
He better not stand us up. I had not even heard this, but also I hadn't been paying any fucking attention to this. Grown-ass men writing poems to each other.
Okay, I'll be honest. I like that type of shit, but I wasn't into it. That's way back in the day, like Eminem type stuff, like Tupac. I'm still stuck on all that stuff.
Like I grew up on rap, right?
Yeah.
Like I graduated. I'm gonna show my age here. I graduated graduated high school in 2000. That's when Nelly dropped Country Grammar, which was one of the best CDs ever. I grew up on Biggie, Pac, all the the OG stuff, and I've listened to rap ever since. And I was on the boat this past weekend, and I had a bigger group with me, and I was like, I'll just put on one of the newer rap channels and play some of this shit. And I was like, all this stuff was awful.
It's moved.
It's fucking awful.
Yeah, bro. It's just not my style at all. Like no more, bro. I like that gangster, like fuck you type. All day. I'll never even complain. I'll listen to that for the rest of my life. 100%. The Chronic 2001. Like, bro, I don't need nothing else. Be all right.
For sure. I like new stuff, though. I'm always looking for something new.
Yeah.
I like a little, on Mexican, I was going to call it Independence Day. That's the Battle of Puebla, September 16th. On Cinco de Drinko, we was listening to, Peso Pluma. This fun stuff. Some other reggaeton.
You listen?
Reggaeton.
I like that
I
stuff
tell you,
too.
Mike, one you like is Mexican OT.
Yes, dude. That dude fucking throws down. Johnny.
He's one of the only newer guys that I like that's out right now. Big fat Mexican.
Yeah, Johnny Dang. That song's dope, bro.
Funk Master. One of the coolest nicknames in combat sports. The Funk Master. He got a funky setup over there. He got the gamer chair. He be shooting them down on Call of Duty. What's up, Aljamain Sterling? Reading up on some of your origin story about wrestling. When you wanted to make the basketball team, and a coach came over and said, "I feel like you have the frame at 5'7" to be a wrestler rather than a basketball player." And you took that to over 100 wrestling matches. And then it led you to training and going to John Jones's gym and being inspired by the GOAT, the greatest of all the GOATs, is John Jones. So I feel I have a similar story, bro, because John, that was the first time I traveled off and went to another gym was with John Jones, and he kind of brought me in. So
You went to Albuquerque?
yeah, that's where I met John in Albuquerque at Jackson Wink.
Okay. I was supposed to go there. He wanted me to come down, but I was in college still. I was trying to finish up. And I was like, bro, I can't just drop out of school. At this point, I done paid how many thousands of dollars in school loans and everything. I got to pay that back. So I'm like, you know what? If this don't work out, I still got to make sure I get my degree, and I still got to make sure I got some type of end game if fighting doesn't work. So I wasn't even thinking about fighting until we met. And then after that, I was just like, let's just see where this goes. And let me just get my degree for plan B. And then out there, we could kind of see what happens after that. And I knew I was going to be the little fish in that gym, man. You know what I mean? You come in like, yeah, you got an undefeated record. I think I was like 4 or 5-0 at the time. And I was like, bro, if I come there, like, no one's going to be looking at me. And you're the big dog. So you Carlos Condit, Rashad Evans, all those guys are going to get the coach's time. I'm not going to get no coach time.
So that's where your school was, in Albuquerque area?
Nah, New York, upstate New York.
That's what I was curious about, because it said that you was in college. Oh, so you first communicated with him online or over the phone?
We went to college with each other. My freshman year, his sophomore year.
A lot of people think John Jones from Albuquerque, but he's from like Epcot, New York, right?
Endicott, Union Endicott, and he wrestled there, won a state championship, went to Iowa Central, won a state championship. And I didn't even know who he was my freshman year until all the other wrestlers on the team told me who he was and told me what's up. And I started looking up videos. I was like, oh, this guy's the truth. And then I got to watch him in one open mat session, just tool on this returning All-American. Like, he took some time off. But either way, you were returning All-American to get done up like that. I was kind of like, ooh, this guy is serious. And so after that, I went to Cortland. I changed schools from SUNY Morrisville to SUNY Cortland. And then John had stopped going to school. He started fighting. And his gym, when I hit him up, he was training right down the road from my college. So I was just like, let me just come down for a practice. And I just never stopped ever since then.
Okay, that's what's up. That cleared the story up for sure. I was curious as to how that went. And I didn't know that mag about John, that he was from New York. What was your degree in, Aljo?
Physical education. And there's another fighter from SUNY Mooresville, so it's 3 of us that actually got to the UFC. I don't know if you remember Alawalo Bangosa.
Alawale Bamboje, the Holy War Angel.
The Holy War Angel. He even pulled out the nickname.
That man was a freak.
Yeah.
He was a freak.
I was in New York. I got some training with him.
He's wild style, right? He a little wild style.
He kidnapped me, bro. I came to New York, and he was like, come on, we're going to go train. And I went to go meet him, and then I was stuck with him all day. Like, we was on the trains together. He taking me to another gym. I got some like PT work done.
Yeah, so it was 3 of us from that school that ended up making it to the UFC, which is kind of fascinating, but it's cool though. That's a cool little thing that I always try to, like, it's just cool to be a part of that.
Absolutely. And you're a big part of that. I mean, you and John are 2 of the most successful guys. You know, obviously he's number 1, and then you're in the top 10 as far as successful fighters go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to break into that top 10, but I'm having my success from outside of the UFC. But success is success. I don't care where the fighting is at, as long as they paying.
100%. And congrats on the last one, dude. I was like, damn, I didn't think it was going to be that fast. I was like, yo. Just one on the chin. I was like, damn, that's it. That fight's over.
Thank you, man. I was surprised, too. No one's done that to Thiago Alves. So I thought that was really cool. My boxing really showed in that one. Speaking of which, you dominated your last opponent as you moved up a weight class. That was very impressive, sir. That was very good.
Thank you.
Did you feel like, because you weren't so dehydrated, that you were able to get your combinations and your feints, your highs and lows, and your angles and everything was able to just be fresher? Your body was fresher. You put it all together better?
I didn't really know what to expect because I know what I could do in the room, but then you go up a new weight class. Yeah, I'm sparring with 45. It's almost my entire bantamweight career, sometimes flyweights. So you're not really sure what that's going to look like on fight night, right? But I do know when I cut down to 35, I lose a lot of my pop. I lose a lot of my strength. Like, I'm strong, but not for a long period of time, where in the middle of training camp, for the majority of it, I feel strong throughout the whole thing. And then I cut down to 35, and it's just like, it's a shell of myself. And I was very nervous for this one because, like I said, it's a new weight class. Calvin Kattar the guy's a savage. If you look up any of his highlights, you'll see this guy just beating people down, not afraid to get in the fire, mix it up, throw some stepping elbows. Yeah, he might have got the work from Holloway, but most guys would have rolled over and quit. This guy stayed in there for 25 minutes and was still trying to figure out a way to win with the elbows and everything. So the guy's a dog. So I think that fight for me, I know it might sound weird to people because they saw how the fight went, but in the back room, throughout the training camp, that was the most nervous I ever been for any fight. And it was probably one of the smoothest competitions that I ever had. So I'm just really happy and proud about that. But I didn't think it was gonna go like that by any means. So for me to go out there and do that, I just feel more comfortable now, and I feel I could be more bouncy. I could use more of my dynamic stuff that I do throughout the 15 minutes, 25 minutes, and not have to worry about getting tired, gassing out, and conserving energy throughout a 15-minute or 25-minute fight at bantamweight. I think that's the difference.
He looked like more of a contender for Ilia Topuria than at 135, you know what I mean? At 145, you looked strong and fresh. And Calvin Kattar, like you said, it's not like you went up a weight class and just fought someone.
Yeah.
Anyone. Calvin Kattar's been in the top of that division for a long time. And,
Yeah, well, to lend credit to that, like Aljo, as we're saying, like Kattar was good. Kattar was really good. That's why we have the highlight clip of Max saying, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC." There was so much of like the fan base that actually believed that Calvin was one of the best boxers, if not the best pure boxer in the UFC. So like he was highly regarded. Absolutely. Well, he is. He is high. 100%.
And I felt like I said, I thought I was prepared to go to the hospital, and I knew if I got my ass kicked, I was retiring, right? So I had all these thoughts in my head because I already knew what I signed up for. And even at the face-off, we talked a little bit, and I was like, let's get it. And then he said, "You already know." I was like, oh, he hit me with the slang. He said, "You already know." I was like, all right, he ready for war right now. So in my head, I'm thinking like, yo, this guy is about it right now. Like, all right. So then when the fight happened, like you said, man, everyone knows who Calvin Kattar is. If you watch MMA, you're a fan of the sport. The guy's main evented a bunch of fights. I mean, look what he did to Giga Chikadze. Giga might have slipped, and then he got the takedown. From there, the fight was drastically changing. But, man, the guy's got a highlight reel for days, man. Just puts it on people, and a lot of people thinking he is the best, sharpest boxer at 145 or probably the UFC. And then Max, showed it up otherwise. But, I think to go out there and do that to a guy like that, I know people were a little pissed, but what am I supposed to do, stand there and trade with him for 15 minutes when my style has always been grappling? Like, I don't know. And I outstruck him on the feet. I took him down, and he neutralized a lot of the stuff I was trying to do on the ground. So we're even trying to watch tape to see how we can prevent that going forward, because I know the UFC wants finishes. I know the fans want finishes. I want to make sure it's entertaining from a grappling standpoint. I don't want to be one of those guys because I had one fight where someone neutralized me that they're going to consider me a boring fight. I'm like, yo, dude, look at my other fights. None of those fights are like that. I take guys down, I control position, I advance position, and I do damage on the ground. So I don't think one fight defines your entire career.
No.
Back the bus up a little bit. You said you were ready to retire if you lost that fight. I mean, why? You just fought for the title, right? You're just moving up to 145. What would one loss really do moving up into the weight class for you? I mean, that's got to be that's got to be a decision there.
Yeah, 100%. I know people say once you start thinking about retirement, it's time to get out, but it's not even like that. Like, my heart's always in it. You're in there, you're playing for keeps, but I'm not here to be second. You know what I mean? I'm a former champion. I want to become a champion again, and if I can't do well against a guy like Calvin Kattar, who's not even the cream of the crop, he's just one of the tough obstacles in the way to get to the cream of the crop. It's kind of like, then what am I even doing this for? Just to collect a paycheck? Yeah, that's cool. But I'm not in here to go out there and be no one's stepping stone and get beat up just for a couple $100,000. Like, not even, like, just a couple $1,000. Like, I don't want to disclose fight purses anymore, whenever, because I kind of shot myself in the foot with that last time. So I don't want to disclose money, but I just don't think it's worth it. I'm well off with my income, everything I've made. I bought my houses. I've got my investment set up. I got my own cash that I can spend yearly. So I'm straight on that end. So it's just like, what am I going to do? Go in there just for the hell of it? Like, that's a dangerous way to play this game. And like any of us know who's been in there, that's not the place you go there to play games. You play for keeps. So for me, if he had kicked my ass and there was no chance for me to really do anything, and it's like my wrestling was neutralized, I was getting beat up from post to post, I was just like, yeah, man, I'm done. For what? What am I going to do? Go fight the next guy just to give him a chance to elevate his career off my name and tarnish my legacy kind of a thing? I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. So I'm happy and comfortable in my own skin. If I was done today, I think I had a hell of a career, in my opinion. I mean, there was only 3 fighters I fought that weren't ranked. You look at that and you see all these other guys, they fighting cans and making all these crazy highlight reels. I'm like, I didn't get that opportunity. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have get some tune-up fights to really sharpen my striking and really get comfortable so I could become a little bit more of a hybrid between striking and grappling. But unfortunately, I didn't get that shake like a lot of these other guys with these tune-up fights. You know, I don't want to name any names, but a lot of their favorite fighters take the easy road and then they eventually get one. You get lucky on the night a couple times and then you look like a superstar. So it is what it is. Some people take the hard road, the unbeaten path, and some people take the easy one. So
I can read between the lines, but look, now we're out of that conversation. Now we're looking forward. Now you're looking at the top 100%. Of the 145 class, right?
Yeah.
What's interesting to you next? Because you're right there in the mix.
If you asking me,
yeah.
I think based on my last performance, not from an entertainment standpoint, I think just from a stylistic matchup, and I think from skill-wise and everything, I think I match up very well with Ilia Topuria. I think that's a very intriguing fight because my grappling, I think my defense is one of the best in the UFC. I had one slip up and people, mentally I just wasn't there for that fight with O'Malley, and I made a critical mistake and he countered on it. One of the counters that we knew he was really good at, and for me to make that mistake for him, like laid it up on the platter, it was just, there was nothing to that. Like anyone could have landed that cross on me at that point in time, And I think whenever I'm on and sharp, I think I'm a nightmare matchup for anybody. I think my footwork, I think my timing, the unorthodox striking, and I think, of course, the grappling, I think I'm strong enough to compete where if I grab him or anybody at featherweight, I think I could hold him down. I think I could pass guard. I think I could do some damage on the top position and even off my back. So I think stylistically, after seeing how I did with Calvin, seeing how you can't do MMA math, but you can kind of gauge where you're at, right? So based on that, I think I would be a tough riddle for him to figure out because I'm not going to stand there and let him tee off with his boxing. We all know that. Like, I'm not playing that game, you know what I mean? So he's going to have a hard time with the footwork of myself and trying to find me to land those shots, and I think I could kind of pick some shots and take a little risk here and there and hopefully get the job done. That's the name of the game when you're at the top of the heap. And if not, give me Brian Ortega or even Yair Rodriguez. I think those are the most fun, popular fights for the fans, just from a fan base perspective. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, we just had Brian on. I think I'd like to see that one. That'd be a fun one to watch. But yeah, I personally thought you should have gotten the rematch against Sean. I mean, just like you said, it was like anybody could have landed that counter. You know what I mean? You just left yourself in range. Anybody could have landed that counter. Why you didn't get that rematch, I don't understand it. They went down to, Cheeto at like 6. I love Cheeto, but come on.
Don't even get me started, man, because then if I start talking about it,
we're going to get Aljo heated for no reason.
It's not even heated. It's just facts are facts. Yeah. And I think it's okay to be a fanboy, but don't ignore the facts. I had to take a month off from my Henry Cejudo fight because my shins were so beaten up. Oh, but Sean had busted ribs. He didn't have busted ribs coming into training camp. The guy had 10 months off before his Jan fight to prepare for either myself or Henry Cejudo. And then after our fight, 2-round fight, he got the time to heal up his ribs. I'm not knocking that. Like, I think any type of championship fight, you should get time to heal because it's not just the fight. It's the training camp. And then fights Cheeto, number 6, who barely beat Pedro Munoz. I think it was a split decision. And because of the storyline, he gets the title shot over Merab. And then people were using the narrative that I blocked Merab. How can I block someone who sat on the sidelines? He could have easily fought Merab for the number 1 contender spot, and I would have vacated, win or lose, in my fight with Henry Cejudo, and that would have been the story, right? But people create this false narrative that Merab and I, because we're friends, he was never offered a fight with me. I was never offered a fight with Merab. We said what we said in the media. Yeah, we're good best friends, live across the street from each other. I got no desire to fight that guy, but let it be known, facts are facts. The fight was never offered, and we never blocked each other. The matchups could have been made with specific people, but he beat Jan O'Malley, and then he got to sit and wait as if he was the champion. And then I get told, as the champion, you have to turn around and cut all that weight again in 3.5 months, and you got to take time off to heal your legs because we know you're banged up. So if people want to gauge toughness and whatever in activity, I think if you have any respect for what we do in this sport to try to entertain them, I think you have to look at all the variables that go into this. And again, O'Malley showed up that night. It was an off night for myself, and the better man won that night. That's why we say any place, anywhere, anytime. And sometimes it's your night, sometimes it's not. And unfortunately, for me, it just didn't go my way. But I do know if I had a rematch, and as long as he waited from August to fighting Cheeto in March, you give me that time to recover and prepare and to cut my weight the proper way in a rematch. I mean, I would bet my life savings on that. But people are going to say, I'm still salty. I'm like, yo, skills are skills, facts are facts. If I sit there and chop his legs down the way I did in the first round, like, yeah, we could sit here and do this all day long. But I think overall, O'Malley's getting better. But I think I'm very good at what I do. He's very good at what he does. And I'm very good at not letting people do what they want to do. But now he gets to fight Marab. And I'm happy for my friend to get a chance to become a world champion the same way I gave an opportunity of a lifetime for O'Malley, even while I handicapped myself. You know, so finally he's giving my boy a fair shake and giving him a chance to realize a dream in his own right.
With all that said, how'd you take the PED allegation news, or however that went? He's Osterine. How did you take that? Did that? I don't know. Just your response to it.
Ryan Garcia?
No, with Sean.
Well, I think he popped twice for it like years ago. But then everyone says the same thing. Oh, it's an over-the-counter supplement thing, and I feel like we know what's third-party tested or not. And we know what things are sketchy and what things you should and shouldn't take. And I think it's easy to take some of these stuff and then knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know, maybe you do know that there are some possibilities that there's some good stuff that can enhance your game if you take this, and then you could blame it on, oh, I don't know, it was just some over-the-counter thing. I only take third-party tested supplements, you know? The UFC provides it for free. So why am I putting myself at risk to do any of that crazy stuff? I can understand if you do drugs and you do cocaine and you do Molly, like maybe those things could have that, but I don't really know if any drug dealer is
putting steroids in cocaine.
PEDs.
Yeah.
Estrogen,
They're not cutting it. They're not cutting it with
plug, bro?
They're not cutting it with steroids.
Where's the plug,
Like,
bro?
you getting high and you getting PEDs? Like, come on, that's just crazy.
Hey, that's some good stuff, man.
And people are gonna say I'm hating. It's not hating. These are just facts. These are easy, undisputable facts that we could all look up and see. Like, okay, he's got a point. The guy has good money. He's had a pretty good career making bonuses and stuff. You mean to tell me you can't buy supplements? You mean to tell me you can't just pick up the phone and send a text, or, hey, UFC, can you send me X, Y, and Z so that I know I'm good? Or you're going to roll the dice and say, well, all these other guys got to do it, so I'm going to do it and take my chances, and I got to escape. That I could use this as a scapegoat to say, well, I took this and I didn't know. And from what I understand, it was twice. I do know for sure it was once, and I think one of his teammates also got popped for it. So it's just like, hold up.
Well, in fairness, just for the audience, I brought it up. You didn't. You talked the whole time about O'Malley. You haven't brought that up once. That was me. So
O'Malley's doing his thing, man. Good for him. I like fighters making money. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a fighter's fighter in the sense of, like, I'm pro fighter all the time. I want fighters to get paid. I want fighters to make money. I want O'Malley to make millions of dollars. I want all these guys to make millions of dollars. It's not easy to do what we do, especially at a high level. But at the end of the day, I'm just an honest guy. You're not going to get me to kiss his ass and say some bullshit that's not true. I'm going to sit here. If you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you how I truly feel. And I don't got to be salty about it. I'm just like, well, these are the facts. I'm looking at this as I'm breaking it down. I'm like, well, why would you put yourself in that situation to do this? And there's other things you could do. You could get Blue Chew if you want to do this other stuff that's maybe a little bit or a lot more safe to take compared to some of these over-the-counter stuff that you have no idea what's in it. I just don't think there's any real logical excuse unless you were drugged or someone slipped something in your drink. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's that hard to figure out. You know, I call a spade, bro.
I wanted to know that if he was about to fight Sean now, what has he changed and what would be different about, you know, because, like, the styles between you two is so different. He stands tall and he backs away and he moves side to side and he strikes from a long range. And then you were trying to, you know, get some hooks in and possibly get to a position of clinch or grappling. And how would you not lean yourself in to be caught with a long rangey shot as he, jogs around the cage attempting to point you? What would be different? What would change?
I would fight him the same way I did in the first round. Fight him the same way Pedro Munoz did. I always tell guys, like, if you fight a guy who moves a lot, man, stylistically, it's hard to chase a guy who has really good footwork, good lateral movement. You got to let him come to you and stand your ground. And once you do that, then you have to you start to force them to now, instead of countering, now they have to be the ones to start the offense. And you can sit there and fake them a bunch, get them to be uncomfortable, unsure what they're going to do, chop the legs down. Like, we had all this game planned out. It's one thing to have the game plan. It's another thing to mentally be dialed in where you're not drifting. After the first round, I knew it was a close round, but I was like, well, I think I did the more effective work. I got the clinch at the end of the round, landed a couple shots there. It was a very slow round. Not much happened. But you watch his fight with Pedro Munoz, it's the same thing. Not much happens unless you give him the opportunity where you start walking forward and just chasing the guy. You can't chase the guy who's got long legs, long limbs, long attacks, and he's got good eyes. He finds his shots. Like, O'Malley is a true sniper. Like, you give him what he wants, you lay it up for him on a platter. Like, you can't do that. So with that said, after the first round, I talked to my coaches and I asked them who they thought won. And for me, I just fought 3.5 months ago before that, and I was just wanting the fight to be over. So I just said, you know what? I got the clinch at the end of the first. Let's gas pedal him, push forward, see what happens. He threw the kick in the second round. He slipped. I jumped on him. I didn't get to properly set up my takedown entry. He escaped. He did some really good technique, froze the hands, create leverage, create some space, got long, and grabbed my head and pulled it. Perfect technique, stuff that we drill all the time. And he got to the space again. He threw a long-range weapon, his back leg, front kick. I checked it, all the stuff we drilled, waiting for. And again, the over-aggressiveness of me just wanting to get out of the fight, mentally not being patient. Like, we work being patient, taking our time with these guys who move around a lot. I was training with Javid. I was training with Farid, training with Julian Rosa. Had these guys throwing these weapons at me. So I went through the grind. Like, I think I was as prepared as I could have been, but I think mentally, just knowing not to make those mistakes. And it was just one mistake. I overextended after I checked. I parried the kick. I stepped in, looking for my cross into my takedown, but I didn't even shoot after. I stepped in through the left hand, switched to southpaw. I saw, as soon as I checked it, he stepped back. And I knew right then and there, I was like, game, blouses. Like, I knew I messed up. That was a very fight-changing sequence. And I thought I was still in the fight. But I think, going back to what you're saying, what I would change, like, even if I did make that mistake, all I had to do was move my head. I threw the punch. Anytime you throw a cross, even when it's orthodox, you throw a cross, you move your head. The guy normally comes with a left hook and you get out of the way of it. Same thing, southpaw orthodox. He steps back. I'm in southpaw. I throw the cross. He throws a cross too. If I just move my head, it's a different situation. Or even if I shot after that, or even if I just pull my hands up, throw the cross, overextend, at least even pull my head up, hands up to not get clipped. Right on, I think it was like right on my eyebrow. So I break these fights down from an analytical standpoint because I think that's the only way you could get better. And I know if you remove that one mistake, that fight's completely different. You know what I mean? So who's to say I couldn't have made that mistake later on in the fight? But it's not like I don't think he really set anything up. I think it was more my impatience that caused my own demise in that. And that was one of the things I said going into the Cater fight. I was like, I had a good vacation, had a really good rest, and I felt motivated to want to fight. I wanted to be in the octagon, and I was excited to be in the octagon. And I told myself, we're going to have fun, but we're going to be patient. And he's going to give us all the stuff that we've been looking for, the stuff that we've been working on. And I got back to the roots, and what happened? You know what I mean? Against a very dangerous, long, lanky striker, and people were saying, "Oh, he's long and lengthy. He's gonna knock him out just like O'Malley did. He's gonna overextend and make the same mistake." I'm like, guys, if you really think that one mistake is something that I do all the time, then you have not watched me fight. I don't know. You could probably find clips of where I've done that, but I also, like I said, move my head, or I get my hands up, or I shoot right after. So I'm not in a line of danger. And I recognize where I'm at versus where I saw it. I literally froze. Like I said, anyone could have landed that and put me down.
Oh, that was great insight on your thoughts on that question, just how you see that moment and how you compared it to all these other moments. And and how you just separated as it was one mistake. That was great insight on your analytical standpoint of how you look at all the details of how you're gonna break down your next opponent, what you will and won't do. Speaking of which, I think there was something about your next opponent that I saw.
Is this rumor true?
It was
Wait, I have an opponent?
Movsar Evloev. Do we know?
They said it's been offered
know
to him,
him?
I think, right? They said it was offered to
Dana just announced it, Aljo. You haven't seen it yet. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
I was like,
But
really?
no, but 100% there's a rumor saying that you're fighting Evloev.
Yeah, I get
100%. Hey, Max said 100%. There's a rumor.
Well, okay, wait, that is dumb. Okay, dude, all right. My bad.
I tweeted it.
Yeah.
My thing about Mozart is, compared to this in the States, like maybe even internationally, like there's not a lot of guys who know who that guy is, and he's a very tough, really good fighter. And it's unfortunate that not a lot of people know who he is for whatever reason. More people knew who Calvin Kattar was. When I asked my friends about Mozart, they're like, who? So I asked for Ortega for name value. I asked for Yair Rodriguez for name value, and to get closer to the title. I don't know if a fight between Mozart and myself makes any sense in terms of if anyone advances in the title picture. I think it's just a fight, just to fight. So,
Actually,
I don't. I have no.
good point.
I have no understanding. I do not know about any possible fight with Mozart Evloev. Last I checked, my hand was busted from my fight with Kattar from before going into that fight where I was possibly going to pull out, but good thing I stuck through it because I really didn't want to have another layoff, and fortunately it worked out. I got a good tape job from Don House. He hooked me up, and I was able to get through the fight. So
I got a question for both of you, for Mike and for Aljo. How long do you enjoy the wins, and how long do you dwell on the losses? Because you can't spend too much time on either one, right? But how do you guys approach that? Aljo, you go first, and then Mike, you can follow up. But how do you approach that? Wins, losses, moving on to the next.
I mean, for me, for the wins, I try to enjoy it as much as I can. Especially now, I don't get a lot of time to travel and whatnot. Trying to get everything done. So, I mean, definitely a couple of weeks before I would fight, and then the very next week I was back in the gym, but I was also 21, 22, 23. As I got older, so I started getting more injuries, more surgeries. I think I've had 6 or 7 surgeries now at this point. And with that said, I take more time to heal my body up between training camps because I go so hard in my training camps. Like, man, the sessions I go through to try to mentally prepare myself, you got to take time off, especially with the weight cut. Now the weight cut's not as hard. I'm actually walking around lighter than I did at 35. Before, I would be 170, easily as 174. Right now, this morning, I think I was about 168. And then after training, I was 165. I'm like, damn, this is actually, it's nice, but it's crazy to see, like, how I didn't really change anything. Maybe because I'm not lifting as much. I'm not training as hard. I'm not wanting to eat as much either. But I don't have that survival mode of shrinking myself to 135 and then ballooning up to 180 pounds. So I try to enjoy the win as much as I can. Family, friends that I don't get to see because I'm here in Vegas. Then I go back to New York, try to see everyone, try to see my mom. And I still train here and there, but I'm not going through a 5-day, 6-day-a-week training session like I'm in a fight camp. I want to make sure I'm enjoying my life. I want to also make sure I'm still in relatively decent shape where if a fight opportunity that makes sense comes up, I can get ready to jump on that. And if I lose, I think it's nice to take some time to decompress and do kind of the same exact things. I just like to enjoy my time because I'm so entrenched in the game, right? Like, I lock in. But I want to make sure, win or lose, I still pay that time back to my loved ones because we're getting older, man. We don't get this time back. Like, I remember when I was 21, I didn't give a shit about anybody or anything. It was all about me, selfish. Like, this is what I got to do. I don't care what you're doing. Like, now I'm older. I'm like, damn, man, it'd be cool. I'm sorry I missed your wedding. I'm sorry I missed your baby shower with everything. Like, I miss all these events. So I try to make up for that lost time, win or lose. I think you got to be reasonable, though, right? You don't want to go too far off the wagon where it's so hard to come back. But that's what I'm saying. I still train in between that, but I still try to make sure I take some time out to enjoy the roses.
I felt that. No, for sure. But considering I just had a quick fight, it's like we're already talking about another fight, and it could be soon, and I'll be jumping back in there shortly. So I was in the gym last night, and considering like I was just in this great shape, and then I go in the gym, it was some things I did good just naturally. Like I would get tired, but then I would rest, so my recovery was really good. So I would just take a few breaths, and then I would get back to work, and then I would have a little more extended time on the work. And then when I woke up this morning, I was feeling that workout that I did. I was like, damn, my shit locked up after one little workout. And, you know, I made this money and I got these investments in place, and I've been having this success, and I'm trying to make sure that our future looks bright. But I wanted to, go on a platinum vacation with my family and give that time to family, because it's like, what have all my fights ever been for is so that we could relax and enjoy Mai Tais on the beach.
Amen.
And, Uncle Sam, leave me alone. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, you did good. Now you have an opportunity to do something bigger and better and faster even right now. So we got to take you up on that. And it's like, I can't pass up an opportunity. So it's like they're holding it over my head. So like, stay in shape, stay in shape. So I'm back in the gym. And, for a long time, I've been learning how to, where I won't miss some things. Like if there is a family function or a wedding or something like that, unless it's the same weekend, like I'll go to that bitch. You know what I mean? And I'll try to be professional, and I won't miss out on things and family gatherings and stuff like that, because, the plane might crash on the way to the flight, bitch, and I missed it anyway. So I try to live life. Sometimes that means not taking that shot. I'm thinking about when we was in Las Vegas and we was at that party for the Pandas. Man, that was good stuff, good time. So I always try to live it up. It's really like the same lifestyle. I live the lifestyle that I'm fighting for. And so it's like I can never put it down, because I had to continue to fight, because now with this bare knuckle shit, and people are always talking shit, and I wish a motherfucker would do it to me when it's in person, and they don't, and they won't. But, I'll be ready to start some shit. And it's a lifestyle, bro, so we just keep it going. But that also reminded me, before we move on or anything, speaking of that Pandas party, Aljamain Sterling, our friends over at Kimpai Pandas have an exclusive panda for you. The Funk Master NFT panda will get this sent to you, and just you can sell that on
Man, don't be selling
Ethereum.
that. Not yet.
Or you can
wait,
keep it, and it'll be worth. It'll be worth. I mean, you can sell it to if whoever buys it is going to have a lot of money from that one day. You become the champ again. What?
Yeah, it's fire. I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people think I should go back to the high top, but I'm just like, damn, man, I like my braids though. I like the high top.
That's
too,
what's
I like
different.
High top's
I
fire,
just
though.
realized that.
High top's fire. Though.
The high top was iconic.
Yeah, I got a lot of people that still like, man, you know what I miss? You in the high top with the big dookie chain. I'm just like, come on, don't do me like that.
But it's interesting listening to both of y'all answer that question, because, and Aljamain said it, right? Like when I was 21, 22, and Mike, you were the same, I was the same. Like we didn't give a fuck about nobody else. We would miss stuff, right? Like I've got so many things that I missed over the last 10 years. I didn't miss like core things like birthdays, anniversaries. But outside of that, I missed so much stuff. And that's one of my biggest regrets looking back, right? Is like I wanted to focus on business and not go to somebody's baby shower or go to somebody's wedding or go to somebody's this, and this, right? And like that's a regret now as I get older and look back at it. So I think that's something, I think what y'all said is right, and it's good for young guys to like maybe hear and change in advance. They won't, because we built that way anyway. 25 and under, we just want to fucking win until we get something else in our lives, whether it be a wife or kids or whatever, that makes you kind of like change your mentality. But yeah, it's always interesting hearing that response.
I agree with you. The one thing I will say is when you're in your 20s, that's when you got like that rock star, full of testosterone, where you can go those crazy 12, 15, 16-hour days, work your ass off, overtime, do all this crazy stuff to really chase that dream of what you're trying to accomplish. And of course, what's the one thing as you get older, you get out of high school, it's a lot harder to now pick up chicks or a good chick, right? So most of these girls, when they're in their 20s, it's easier for them, and not to make it about that. I'm just saying, as a young man, you want to become almost synonymous with the word successful. And the best time to do that is like when you're in your late teens or your early 20s, because those are the prime years that we have to, at least I feel we have to almost sacrifice so that when we get to our 30s, I'm 34 now, and I look back at that, I'm like, I know I'm at least happy. I do regret some things, but I am at least happy that I hustled so much back then. And thank God I didn't die, knock on wood, on the way here. And I can now say I can make up for some of those things because I'm in the position to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And still create those memories where if I had just gone to all those things and maybe not have gone as hard, maybe I'm not in this position that I'm in now. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a catch-22. It's like you want to enjoy that time, but the young man who hustles his ass off, now he's a rich millionaire or whatever, got a couple $100,000 in the bank, and he's in his 30s. A lot of chicks see that guy and they identify him as successful, someone that could protect them, someone that can provide for them, take care of their family. Like people, a suitor, which are typically, your female counterpart, they want to make sure they have that security with the guy. They don't want to be going with the guy that's just kind of like, he doesn't know or he's unsure where he's going type of thing. I'm not saying you need to be a millionaire, but the guy who kind of builds that foundation early on and that is set up typically has the better choice options in life for what he wants versus what you have to settle for, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying prioritize business and all this stuff. I think you kind of have to look within yourself and see what you're comfortable with. What type of lifestyle do you want to live versus, okay, other people are living like this, but does that necessarily mean that you want that? Do you cherish more the family time, the time that you have now in your 20s and in your 30s, and you're willing to work a modest job and go day to day like that? That's cool. Nothing's wrong with that. But I think for people like us who probably have a little bit more drive and motivation to want to aspire to more, we need those overtime hours where I'm taking all these extra fights because I'm like, man, I need that paycheck. I need that paycheck yesterday. So I'm trying to hustle and get to this point. Like, if I slow down, I wouldn't have 5 houses. If I slow down, I wouldn't have X amount of money in my bank account and in my savings. You know what I mean? So it's really just perspective on what you want out of your life. And I always tell people, don't compare your life to other people. What do you want for yourself? And I think that's the best way you could kind of approach life. And I think that's the best way you can find happiness. Because if you try to find happiness within others and what they're doing, I think you're going to always be miserable because you're always going to feel like you don't have enough. And that's my 2 cents.
That's a great.
Words of wisdom. Aljamain Sterling.
Did you buy all 5 of those houses from Al? And how is he doing?
No, what's crazy? He actually never got to sell me a house because I was so adamant on trying to find a house like this, and he was busy with other clients and stuff like that. This was like way back. My first house I bought was in 2018. I bought it through a short sale. I was just picking up the phone, calling people, looking at these houses. He took me to see a couple, but then I was just like, all right, but I need to go see the next one. So I was scheduling. This is just how I am. I operate like this.
Aljo's hustling, by the way. I'm a real estate
guy.
Aljo's hustling right now.
Well, watch him fight. He hustles then too, yeah.
He got his license before me. We started the real estate game at the same time, but then he had his injuries. So he went full-time real estate where he got his license. Now he's a head broker at iQuinta Realty in New York. I just transferred my real estate license to his brokerage from the other brokerage I was at. I don't really have time to sell properties, so I tell people, like, if you're interested, you can hit me up and I can set you up with one of the best realtors that I can find in the area, and I still get paid from like a referral fee or whatever. But it's not even about that. It's just trying to help people out the best way that I can. and I only have so much time in the day to show people houses, right? And I still got to train and do all these other stuff. So, yeah, we started at the same time. He got his license, and then shortly after, I was like, yo, let me get my license just because I just don't know what's going to happen in the future. And so I had my real estate license. I had my teaching degree. And I was like, I think I got a good enough area covered where if things go south with fighting, you know, I can at least fall back on one of these things. And I know how to work. I know what the work ethic is. I know how to grind. I come from a wrestling background from high school, college. And I know what it feels like to go day in and day out, really hustling to try to get what you want.
Hey, when Mike Perry Real Estate Company. I want Mike Perry showing me a 6-bedroom townhome. And
Hey, look, check this shit out over here, bro. This shit's sick over here, bro.
You
We
see
got
this
a fireplace. No,
You
this
see this
shit
driveway?
crazy. No, look at these lights, bro. Hit the light switch. No, Al, you made me think, man, when you was talking about not comparing yourself to others and you was talking about your young self, you know, you were comparing yourself to yourself, and that's how it should be. And it's like, as men, we always think, you know, who would win in a fight, your young self or your now self?
Yes.
you know that answer. The now
I
self.
think right now I kicked my ass when I was a
Hell
little kid.
yeah.
That little kid thought he was invincible, you know? That little kid really thought he could just go fight anybody. Didn't matter the weight class. If you got me mad enough, I just see red, bro. I just see red.
But it was that mindset that made you say, when you're in your, 18 to 20s, later 20s or whatever, that it makes you, it's that immortality mindset when you're not afraid of anything that makes you successful, because you're willing to go put yourself out there for things. But you fail a lot when you were young because you weren't afraid of failure. And now when you're older and wiser, you're more patient, you can wait, and you could just wait yourself out.
I agree, 1,000%, man. I think it's 100. I think that's spot on. I don't think there's anything I can even say to add to that. I think that's just what it is. Back then, we're young, invincible. You get older, you get a little bit wiser. You make smarter decisions. And I think not being afraid to ask people questions, man. I think a lot of people are ashamed as a man to ask someone for help or to ask them for guidance. You don't got to be nagging, but even if you got to pay for their time. I think a lot of people get kind of, like, I get a lot of DMs. I don't really open all of them, but I'll read through them occasionally in case
We know we've been trying to get you on the show for like 6 months.
Yes, I don't know, man, because I get a lot of crazy stuff, especially since the Jan fight, the first one. I got a lot of death threats. I got a lot of racial stuff. I got people attacking my family. And I got thick skin from Long Island, so we talk shit all the time. So it didn't really bother me all too much, but it's just like you see how people can easily change on you. I beat Corey Sandhagen. I was the man. I was the uncrowned king because we were the two highest ranked guys not fighting for the belt, and somehow the two lower ranked guys get to fight for a title because they had bigger names. And eventually we got the fight. I won, but I lost, and then we had the rematch. And a lot of people wrote me off, and I got a lot of hate shit. But going back to the DMs, I don't check those too often, but I'll see some stuff. People think like your time is just unlimited. I'm like, dude, that's the most valuable currency that we have is our time. I can't be sitting here answering 1,000 DMs a day trying to give advice to all these young aspiring people that want to do all these things. Now, if you come in to run into me and you ask me if I have a second, if I really do have a second, I don't mind chopping it up with you and sharing a little knowledge here and there. And I think people got to also remember time is money. So if you're really that serious about it, why not offer that person that you want to mentor you a couple of dollars, or offer them lunch, or to take them out, whatever it is, to kind of take the workload off their plate, to make it worth their while to go out of their way to help you. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people start to feel like because you have access to this, it's just so easy to send a message and you think, oh, this guy's an asshole, he never answered me. I'm like, nah, this doesn't work like that. Like, just think about all the other people who are asking the same exact question and how much time it would take for me to answer that same question to everybody.
People don't really want it. They be talking, or else they would do that.
Well, that goes into something I really wanted to ask. Like, one of the biggest things.
And Aljo, let us know, man, if you're crunched on time, because like you said, time is money, and we don't want to hold you over. If you got something to do. He's been on for a minute now.
And Mike knows it's about to be a long-winded one. Yeah.
Sometimes we get rambling, man. So just let us know.
No, yeah. Hey, yeah. Here I go, Mike. Let me try.
This could be about a 7-minute question.
It's gonna be. I'll keep it under 30 seconds. No. All right, here we go. So when it was interesting with you, like no one you didn't have like the hate you used to get, right, until the Piotr Jan fight. And I mean, at the end of the day, the dude threw an illegal knee. I mean, how does that affect like the hate you get on the internet? Because you get an unjustified amount. I remember when you got the belt, you put it down in the cage, and then when you were at home, if I remember correctly, like on an Instagram story, you shared it, and like your family was encouraging you to put it on and own it, right? And you did, and it wasn't that serious. It didn't seem that serious, and then that's what people roasted you for. They were grabbing that video off Instagram and saying that you were a fake champ. Like, how much has the hate had to do with how you thought maybe you would retire after this fight? You know, if you lost this Calvin Kattar fight, like, do you think if you were, well, that's good.
I don't think that affected my decision at all. At the end of the day, it just comes down to legacy. It comes down to desire. I mean, we ultimately fight for money, right? Where this is prize fighting, and the ultimate prize is trying to get the belt because that comes with the most money. So for me, if I'm gonna go out there and just get my ass kicked, that's not very fun, man. I also enjoy fighting. Like it's fun to be in there. It's nerve wracking. Like I'm shitting bricks in the back. And then as soon as I start making that walk and my song comes on, I start feeling it. I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. This is it. This is it. So you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and you're still a little nervous because you're unsure of what's going to happen. But I'm so dialed in. I'm like, yo, I'm focused on the game plan. I know what I need to do. Just be smart, be sharp, and hopefully good things happen. And with that said, none of the Jan fight affected my decision to retire if I had got really beaten up by Calvin Kattar and it wasn't even close. If it was a close fight and he won, I mean, it is what it is. That's okay. I can live with that because I can improve. But if I just get schooled where I'm just like, damn, I can't compete at this weight class. I can't make 135 anymore, and I refuse to go back to 135. The next best thing is to just be done. Like, I think I'm okay with that. You know, so I didn't tell anybody in my camp. I didn't tell my fiance. But I dropped hints here and there. I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully, I don't get my ass kicked. And I would just say that like jokingly because people know I joke a lot, you know. And I don't mind even ragging on myself. Like it's cool. But there was some truth behind those bars, you know. So thankfully, it went the way that it went, and I got a couple more paychecks in my future, so it's all good.
All right, rapid fire. How would you beat this person at 145? I'm gonna run through a couple of guys. You can make it as long or short as you want to. Josh Emmett.
I think good footwork, a good left guard for his overhand rights that he throws, making sure we're either blocking with the shoulder or making sure we're doing a what we call like kind of like answering the phone shell block. So he has a small window of opportunity where he can get that right hand to maybe wrap around and catch the chin. Long jabs, front kicks to the body, because if he catches it, he takes me down, he puts me right where I want to be. And, of course, my wrestling.
Yair.
I think Yair being sharp with the kicks in terms of a defense, because he's super long. He's able to get out of the way. He's dynamic. He'll throw kicks with the crescent from the lead leg. I think with him, it's either all the way out or you're all the way in, smothering the space. And even his boxing's got a little bit better. It's not the cleanest, but you know he might spin or throw some upward elbow type shit. He's a ninja, man. So guys like that who got really good taekwondo, you got to smother that space, whether you push him against the cage, looking for the takedown, timing a kick, catching a kick, or you're staying all the way out. I'm not going to get into a kickboxing match with the guy. So I'm going to fight to what I think is my my best path of least resistance.
Respect.
Ortega.
It's a good one. I don't really know how I would approach that fight. I know I could take him down. Was it?
I like this fight.
That's fun scrambles.
That's a bagger.
Those grappling exchanges would be fun.
I think so too. I don't really know how I would approach that fight just yet. I gotta go back and watch his Yair Rodriguez fight, the rematch, and maybe a couple of the other ones. He has definitely made some improvements since the Max Holloway fight, striking wise. When he fought Korean Zombie, he fought I forgot who the other guy, even Volkanovski. He's made some improvements. So that one's a tough one. Of course, my wrestling for sure, but I got to be cautious of his submission game off of his back. I got to be cautious when I'm shooting in that he doesn't catch a guillotine, or he might even try to go for a flying triangle off one of the takedowns. You know, so there's a little bit of danger factor where he could end the fight. Like, he's not the best grappler, like wrestling, sambo, judo, foot sweeps, and control. He's more of like he's got slick submission attempts, so I got to be cautious with that. I think I would have the speed advantage on the feet with quick twitch and with my striking. So who knows? I like I said, I haven't really broken that one down yet, but just from what I know I have the advantages in those areas. And I know he's probably a cleaner, more technical boxer than I am, but I use my unorthodox striking, I think, relatively well.
Max,
The
god right now. The god
I wanted
right now.
that fight. Yeah, I wanted that fight. The same thing I said about Cater. No one's actively tried to take him down. Max has really good lateral footwork. When guys start pressuring forward, he does a good job getting his guard up, and he'll get on his bike, circle, and then he'll come back and start putting combinations on you, touch it to the body, side leg, oblique kicks, and he'll even throw that 1-2, and if he sees where you're going back towards the cage or circling, he'll throw that spinning back kick now. He used to do that a lot more, and then he stopped, and then in the last fight, he started to do that a lot against Justin Gaethje, and really showing the old school vintage Max, and even just a little bit more educated and more dialed in with picking his targets when he's ready, especially in that Gaethje fight. Man, to land that spinning back kick at the end of the first round, which I think broke Gaethje's nose, or that was the fight changer right there.
100%.
It was close until he hit
Change
that.
right there. Yep.
Yeah, the fight started to go left. It started to pretty much go in the favor of Holloway, because I felt like Gaethje was a little bit more cautious, didn't want to get hit on that nose anymore. And he was still throwing heat, but I think that was the defining moment that changed the rest of that fight and how it was going to play out. So with him, got to figure out how to close the distance. Guys that have good footwork, it's hard to take them down, like an O'Malley, like a Yusuf Zalal, guys who are really good being on the bikes, Javid, the Basra brothers, Farid, Javid. So you have to be able to track a guy down like that, and it's not going to be easy. But I think if I could close it, I'm not going to strike with the guy, like in terms of like just a straight up kickboxing match. But I think if I could close the distance, I think I could have some relatively good success in terms of getting takedowns, getting control, and doing some good damage on the top position.
Mike, when you get your nose broke in the first round, how does that affect you over a 5-round fight? I know you've had your nose broken a couple of times.
Me and Aljo are now in two completely different sports. So the boxing shit is like, bro, I don't know why, but I was made for boxing. And especially bare knuckle boxing. I could just put my hands down and just throw a tornado of punches as hard as I can. And in MMA, you just can't do that because you're susceptible to takedowns. And the funk master over here would be a backpack on people. And, you know, because when he was talking, Aljo, when you were talking about the relaxed feelings you had of going up a weight class, how you kind of felt like you had nothing to lose. And when you fought Calvin Kattar, you was able to beat him everywhere in the striking, in the positioning to get to takedown and then get him down and then control him down there. And there was a lot of hype behind you and Sean O'Malley fighting. There was a lot of trash talk, any head games that he played that maybe got you a little more tense, a little more stiff, and out of that relaxed zone that you were in to move at your freshest. You know, do you think with trash talk moving forward, and it's just as like hypothetical, like if that fight were to, get made, and he's going to be talking, and maybe Calvin Kattar didn't really talk, but is there any way that you think if you had to be in that relaxed mode to perform the way you just recently did, to not get into that tensed, I'm pissed off, I want to beat you so bad because I'm angry feeling? Like, do you get what I'm saying? What I'm talking about? How would you avoid it?
I mean, if you look at the Jan fight 1 and 2, there was a ton of trash talk in both of those lead-ups, right? So that doesn't really bother me. I legitimately just feel it was more the weight cut than anything, and the mental aspect of just fighting. And when you just fight, you get to the back room, you take your team photos, and you're just like, whoo, I could chill, I could have a beer, I could go get bombed right now. I try not to drink too much after the fight. If I get punched in the head a couple times, I try to wait till the next day at least. So after decompressing, and you don't have to worry about the threat of someone trying to like potentially fight you in a short amount of time. I think that's what really messed me up, where I had this relief, and then it was right back to tense mode. Like, I gotta get ready for another fight. I gotta get back in the training camp. That's what that felt like. Where normally you fight, you kind of like, I could just chill, and then when I feel like getting back into that and start making some noise, and I've always talked trash to pretty much every single one of my opponents. I fought Cody Stamen. We had a ton of trash talk back and forth in the DMs, publicly. When I fought Johnny Eduardo, we talked a lot of trash. I talked a little trash to Hugo Vienna, but more playful. I'm not the one to like talk about your family and shit like that. I'm more like, I'll make jokes, snap on you a little bit, call you round, call you slow, like little things like that. It's just like I'm just taking little verbal jabs to see how you react.
Give me an example real quick. Like if you was fighting Mike Perry, what would you say?
I'd be like,
and
man,
hey,
Mike,
it's all long limit. Go ahead.
Nah, if I said anything like to just kind of get in his head, where I'm just like, man, you ain't gonna do shit. You just gonna come out here and swing these wild ass punches. You're gonna be hitting nothing but air. Like you're gonna be looking. I'm like, you're gonna be looking stupid out there. So then he's got to think like, I'm gonna be looking stupid. I'm gonna be looking stupid. So now he's thinking about it like, I don't swing no wild punches. I'm gonna show you what these wild punches do. So it's like that mind game of now you're thinking about these things, even though maybe you were before or you weren't before. But now that I said it, it almost plants that seed. It's just like, I remember when he said that. So now you might have that internal moment where there's a moment where you do start swinging, and I go like, "Yeah, I told you you're gonna be swinging like that." And
reverse
then you're like,
psychology.
You're like, "Oh, he's in my head now." So now you might make more mistakes. And you might start fighting a little bit worse. I'd call people old. I'm like, "Yeah, he's too old. He's the old lion. I'm the new lion. I'm out here roaring. I'm about to put him down and show him who's the king of the jungle." Like I've said that to guys like that, where it's like, I'm gonna break his jaw like my last opponent, and I'm just like, "Oh, he's mad. He's mad a little bit." So it's kind of a game for me. Like I think when you talk shit, you get people more involved because now people, they care. They want to see if you can answer for that cash, that check you're writing. You know what I mean? So I think there's just more weight with that, and I enjoy that aspect a little bit more about fighting. And I was kind of bummed out that Cater didn't really say anything. Like I actually had fun with the build-up with O'Malley. I had fun with the build-up with Piotr Jan because people were talking so much shit. I was like, I can't wait to prove everybody wrong, and I'm just going to be petty. Just talking like almost like Izzy. Izzy's probably the petty king. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that said, when Cater wasn't saying anything, I was kind of like, I even said in interviews, I was like, well, I don't really know what to do because I like Cater, but he don't talk shit. I'm like, so if I talk shit, I don't want, because I feel like he's the type of guy to just take it personal. So I'm like, yeah, I actually like the guy. I like his coach. I would like to be friends afterwards. Like, I'm not here to make best friends, but I'd like to be cordial afterwards where I don't got to see you and I feel like there's tension every time we walk past each other. There's some guys I'm like, man, I don't give a shit. We actually trained together when I was an amateur in 2010. So just one time. So I always liked him. I always hated his teammate, Rob Font, because he talked shit to me. He got in my head. I was like, I can't wait to break this man in half, man. I hope he keeps winning so we can fight. But then he lost. But then I got to hang out with him. And I was like, you're not so bad, but I still want to punch you in the face for all that shit you was talking. You know what I mean? So I'm just like that. I think I'm just very competitive. It could be playful, but I think in competition is like we always size each other up like who could win in a fight. And that's just what it comes down to, human nature, alpha man nature. Just we want to know if we're the biggest, baddest in the room. And if not, we want to know, can we at least survive long enough to get to the next day?
What was you thinking about when you was watching me and Ally Quinta grapple? Was you thinking about how you would take my back and choke me out and stuff like that?
Nah, not at all. I was actually torn in the grappling match because I know we hung out in Gdansk. I was like, yo, Mike's not a bad guy. I told her, I was like, yo, if you guys never had this beef, it's like you guys would actually get along. I was like, he's your kind of guy. Like he's funny. He talks shit. I'm like, yeah, you would actually get along with him. And he's just like, no, fuck that. I was just like,
I got too much love for New York, bro. The fans in New York, bro, they're wild and crazy and they're loud and they don't care who knows it, who hears it. Yeah. So I fuck with all types of people from New York, man. Ally Quinta's not so bad. I hope he's out there selling houses, man.
Yeah, for sure. He's doing good, man. He's actually crushing it right now. He's actually
good
really
for him, man. Tell him I said what's up, bro.
All right, dream scenario. Last fight. You take Ilia for the belt at 145, or do you take Sean in the rematch for the belt at 135
That's a good one.
in whatever fucking stadium you want? And I want to know what stadium it's in. The
Well, you made it
walk-off
easy.
fight. The walk-off fight. What is it?
Banger.
You made it easy for me. Once you said at 135, I'm out.
Hang on, then. Catch weight 140.
I would
No,
That takes away the credibility
have
of
to
it. Yeah,
offer.
that takes away.
Yeah, if we're gonna fight, it has to be at 45. I'm not ever going back down to 35 to fight anybody. You couldn't pay me enough to do that to my body again. You just couldn't.
All right, Sean comes up to 145. Sean or Ilia for the fucking belt, and where's it at?
There we go.
Sean or Ilia for the belt. Well, for me, revenge is sweet. So for sure, I would take the O'Malley rematch. If the guy's coming up and they give him a chance to fight for the belt, or is vacating and we both get to fight for the belt, whatever scenario that it is, if the opportunity is to fight him for the belt, I'm taking that all day long just to show everybody. Like I said in the Piotr Jan fight, I told everybody why I performed like that, and I said I can't wait for the rematch to show him what's up. And then I shut everybody up. Oh, you just hugged his back. I won the fight. I within the criteria. I 10-8'd him. They didn't give me my 10-8. I won the fight, shut him down where everyone said I had no chance in winning. And now you want to grasp at straws. Oh, but this, oh, but that. I'm like, shut up, bro. You wasn't saying that before. You thought I was going to get killed. And then what happened? I shut your boy down. He couldn't do shit. And with this one, it'd be the same exact thing. I love rematches. Give me the opportunity to show that, like I said, that first one was a mentally defeated guy who did not want to be in the octagon.
And the dehydration. For sure, I like you in the rematch at 145.
It's just a different fight. It's a different fight. And you give us both the proper time to prepare, brother. Like, I don't even know if he guy even really hits me, to be honest. And that's not even trying to be cocky. He's a guy, like I say, he's a counter fighter. I wouldn't give him those opportunities. So he has to come to me. And then once he starts coming to you is when he starts to make those mistakes and gives you the opportunities to take advantage of, especially for a grappler. So that's my 2 cents on that. If you're telling me a final swan song between just those two guys, then revenge is sweet, man. I would love to go out with a chance to redeem myself. And who knows, maybe I win, maybe I don't, but I just know I would love to bet on myself and I double down.
Love it.
Where you fighting at? What's the venue?
Let's fight in Jamaica.
There you go. Interesting.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
oh.
Let's fight in Jamaica for the will of the rude boy, them, you know?
Mike, what would be yours?
Yo,
Yeah,
at
with
my
Randy.
last fight,
Hell yeah.
I said I want to fight a guy, and then we leave the ring, and then we go get on a yacht. And we go, and we're on the water. So we fight, boom, boom. Winner gets on the yacht with his family, and we cooking and chilling with the mermaids, man.
Just the
On some
winner.
real shit. Just the winner. Yeah, the loser got to fucking stay on the dock.
I thought you were saying together, like after you guys both get on the yacht.
He got to serve drinks. Loser got to serve drinks all night.
That's hilarious. Yeah, see, those are bets. Those are like trash talking things that I would say. Like, those are fun. You know, make it interesting. See, like, yeah, all that's good. All that's fair game.
Aljo, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us tonight on the Overdogs Podcast, man. We've been trying to get you on here for a reason. You're a very intelligent athlete and a businessman and, mogul, entertainer. You're a really smart guy, man. So thank you for coming on and talking with us. Let's keep going, champ.
Yeah,
Let's keep getting
going.
these wins, brother. I'm rocking with you.
I appreciate you, man. Congrats on all your success as well, and keep going, man. Keep going. I love it.
That was it, folks. Thank you so much for all the support. It's been incredible. All the hate can suck it, and all the fine mamas that support can also suck it. So I'm about to go see my fine mama right now. We've been in here talking. Thanks, boys, for your time. Icebags, Mac Malley. Time is money.
Time is money.
Quote of the day, Aljamain Sterling.
Let's go. Shout
True.
out Latinas.
This podcast episode was brought to you by Overdogs Bet. Sign up today for early beta access and free play at overdogsbet.com/beta.